Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the content that we're throwing up. And make sure you guys hit the like button if you enjoy the video. And yeah, let's begin. What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and today we are going to make a video from a series that we haven't done for quite a while: how to kill superheroes, or in this case, how to kill supervillains. Here's the funny thing about this, right? For those of you guys who are new, we haven't done this video series in about a year. This initially started off with a series of videos on the Xavier protocols, right? How Xavier planned to kill each one of the X-Men if things went awry. And then I don't remember exactly where we went from there. It was like we chose like superheroes who were not part of the Xavier protocols, and then people started asking me to kill superheroes. And so I was like, okay, I mean, I guess we can. And then we just started going with like all these different superheroes. Then it became supervillains, and instead of differentiating between the two, we just kept the name, How to Kill Superheroes, but it also includes villains and even like cosmic entities and different things like that. This was a cool series. In this video, because of the fact that we haven't done this for a long time, and a lot of people have been requesting me to bring it back, I figured we'd kick things off by figuring out a way to kill one of the most ridiculously powerful characters in the history of the Marvel Universe, the Marquis of Death. So, before we figure out how to kill him, we have to go over who the Marquis of Death is and what makes him so hard to kill. Now, for those of you guys who want a more comprehensive discussion on his character, you'll find the link to that down in the description in the Beyond Omega level series. But on this one's going to be a little more skimmed down. And so the Marquis of Death's origin is actually a little complicated, because he is an alternate universe version of a character that already exists outside the main Marvel continuity. And what I mean by that is the origin of the Marquis of Death is actually the origin of Clyde Wyncham, who first appeared in Marvel 1985 #2, written by Mark Waid in 2008. Now, Clyde Wyncham resides on Earth 1218, which is supposed to represent our world, where superheroes simply don't exist, with the exception of the guys in Seattle. What's the name of that guy? And I cannot remember his name, but he's that one dude. He kicked it all off, but he was that one dude who was like going around at night as a superhero and like stopping crime. He was like calling the cops and stuff like that. He wasn't beating anybody up. It would have been cool. But anyway, it turns out that in that universe, Clyde is actually the lone mutant of his particular Earth 1218. Now, Clyde's mutant powers allow him to warp reality, and when he accidentally resurrects his father from the dead, his mother freaks out and hits him in the head with a candlestick, which causes him to suffer severe brain damage. And as a result, Clyde is placed in a nursing home, and he gets so mad when his comic books are taken away that he uses his powers to summon a bunch of Marvel supervillains to his universe to punish those who had wronged him. Now, he later puts an end to their rampage by simply uttering the word enough, sending all of them back to the Earth 616 universe. But Clyde himself also turns up in the 616 universe, where he's found by Reed Richards, who places him in a catatonic state in a holding facility called Area 97, where Clyde experiences a constant stream of pleasant dreams, which sounds like a great solution to the problem of having brain damage with regards to a reality warping mutant. But the problem with this is that in the alternate universe where Clyde escapes from Area 97 after a group of villains come to kill him but accidentally repair his brain damage, Clyde ends up killing them all with a single thought. And so after Clyde kills these villains, he begins to develop a desire to cause destruction. Now, I also need to point out here that Clyde is immortal, so he devotes billions of years to honing his powers and learning to control time and space, and he eventually evolves into the Marquis of Death that travels throughout the multiverse, destroying every universe that he comes to. And so we know just from that bit of information that killing the Marquis of Death, an entity capable of destroying entire universes, is going to present us with quite a challenge. But before we get into that, we need to go over what the Marquis is capable of, which is really probably what a lot of you guys are really interested in. And so, as we discussed earlier, the Marquis of Death is capable of reality warping, and he's an incredibly powerful reality warper at that, as he was able to summon lots of supervillains to his universe and then banish them back to their own universe. Now, among the villains he summoned and subsequently banished was Galactus, who was a cosmic entity who devours entire planets to survive, and Clyde Wyncham was able to summon him at will. Now, keep in mind, that was before Clyde even became the Marquis of Death. And so after becoming the Marquis, he goes from universe to universe, destroying everything in his path. For instance, in one universe, he simply waved his hand, destroyed the sun, and thereby destroyed the entirety of the universe itself. He's able to travel through time, as we saw when he traveled to the prehistoric age to feed Dr. Doom to a megalodon shark. He's also an exceedingly powerful telepath and was able to show Johnny Storm memories from alternate universe versions of his sister Sue Storm dying as a form form of mental torture, and on another occasion, he created an entire world inside of Dr. Doom's mind that Doom believed he'd spent years in, but in actuality, all of it had only lasted a matter of seconds. And so the Marquis can manipulate matter on a molecular level, as he did when he turned Dr. Doom's heart to stone and his blood to acid. He was also able to alter the planet's climate, causing tropical regions to freeze and glaciers to erupt with lava. He's able to manipulate reality in such a way that he changed the timeline of events that had already occurred, offering Reed Richards a chance to save the Earth by allowing his son Franklin to be stillborn, or by allowing Ben Grimm to have died in the accident that gave the Fantastic Four their powers. Now, when Reed refuses the Marquis' final offer of killing the version of Clyde Wyncham that's still in a coma within Area 87 in exchange for saving all the universes destroyed by the Marquis, he's able to summon the Fantastic Fours of 1,000,000 universes to the main Marvel universe to fight that version of the Fantastic Four. But notably, the best indicator we have of the Marquis' absurd power level is the chess match that he has with the younger version of himself, Clyde Wyncham, where they use Thanos, Odin, Ego the Living Planet, Mephisto, Galactus, and Eternity as their chess pieces. Now, these characters are really high up on the Marvel power hierarchy. So the fact that the Marquis can simply just move them around at will like a literal chess piece is really insane when you think about it. And it lets us know that he's one of the most powerful entities to have ever existed in the history of the Marvel Multiverse. So the question becomes, how do you possibly kill a being that's so powerful that he has literally destroyed millions of universes? Well, as it turns out, even though the Marquis' powers are vast, they are not infinite. We see during the final battle with the Fantastic Four that if enough strain is placed on the Marquis of Death, he can be weakened. In fact, once he is sufficiently weakened, he's actually killed by Dr. Doom, albeit a version of Doom that has survived since being eaten by a Megalodon in the Pliocene Age and been honing his skills ever since. But still, we know that it is possible to kill the Marquis of Death, but the problem is, it takes a lot of energy to do so. Now, prior to the Marquis' death, the Fantastic Four battled him after draining the powers of all the other versions of themselves that had been brought to the main Marvel universe. And so having to battle what was, in essence, an army of Fantastic Fours significantly weakened the Marquis. But the real turning point was when the Human Torch hit him with a blast that was beyond supernova level, as that blast reached Planck temperature, which is roughly 100 million trillion degrees Kelvin, which Reed Richards described as being the opposite of absolute zero, and explains that at that temperature, time and space break down, and the Marquis' powers are negated. And so after the Marquis is hit with that blast, he's weak enough to be killed. And so there, we have one way of taking out the Marquis of Death. We simply have to hit him with enough energy to sufficiently weaken him. Of course, in practical terms, this is extremely difficult to do and require the Human Torch to absorb the power of thousands or possibly millions of other versions of himself to produce an adequate amount of energy. But since this is comic books, we're not really bound by practicality. And so while Planck temperature is merely theoretical in the real world, there are so many great minds in the Marvel Universe, including Reed Richards, Tony Stark, Black Panther, and Bruce Banner, that they would definitely find a way to harness some of the multiple vast sources of energy that exists within the Marvel Universe, like the quantum field, for example, or the Odin Force, or the power cosmic, and direct all of them at the Marquis of Death to take him out. Short of that, we'd really have to rely on an entity more powerful than the Marquis of Death, which would probably have to be the One Above All or the Living Tribunal, since we've seen that the Marquis appears to be more powerful than all of the other cosmic entities like Galactus and Eternity. Or we could use the powers of one of the other reality warpers in the Marvel Universe like Franklin Richards or the Molecule Man to simply imagine him out of existence. But that's not fun. That's kind of boring. But with that being said, guys, we're going to bring this video to an end. If you are new here to Comics Explained, make sure you guys hit the sub button to become part of the Rob Core. If you guys want to see this series return, let me know down in the comments by posting up a character that you want me to kill, and I will catch you all later. Peace.